Good evening and welcome back to the MODUS Super Series here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth for the start of Group B action. Before we get into this though, let's remind ourselves of how things unfolded in Group C this afternoon, as it's currently the two Northern Irishmen leading the way in that race to qualify for Saturday's finals night. I think we all expected to see more from Vita Sedlak on the opening day of Group C action, but unable to find his form from earlier in the week, he ended the session on 2 points. As for Sean Griffiths, squandered opportunities at the back end of legs. This 1-2-3, an exception. Debutant Wickenden produced 2 superb comebacks to record his 2 wins, one of them inspired by a clutch 1-5-6. As for Ryan Murray, his form on day 1 reflected what he's produced on the Challenge Tour of late, very up and down, but when he was up, he treated us to some real moments of brilliance. Neil Dufford found Group A very tough, but a higher level was produced throughout the session to leave himself very handily placed in Group C. He's level on points with fellow Northern Irishman Chris Gilliland, who put down a marker with back-to-back averages in excess of 104, going on to win 4 of his 5 matches. Yeah, very impressive indeed from Chris Gilliland. Just sum up how impressive it was to go on a run of winning 4 of his 5 matches, especially given the way his Group A campaign ended.
That's the answer right there. When you get in the back end of that group, you lose 5 out of 5 and then you bounce back the way you did. I had concerns and reservations about that, made that very well known this morning, or this afternoon even, should I say. And to come back 104, back it up with an even higher 104. I've been crunching the numbers and the averages, and we've seen a very good afternoon this afternoon, and Chris Gilliland's certainly top of that table.
Absolutely, and when you look at the league table from Group C at the halfway stage, Sean Griffiths will probably be the player who'll be reflecting, thinking, I could be so much higher up that table, because missed starts at double proved really costly for him.
In and out, called him the hokey-cokey of darts this morning, or this afternoon again, should I say. But it's exactly that. The opportunities, he carved them out, he created the opportunities. And when we look at the career of Sean Griffiths, that kind of follows that trend as well, where he's carved out opportunities and created that pathway and then just never took those steps. Ryan Murray sat in 3rd place. I think that's someone to keep an eye on. Someone that maybe his performance levels went under the radar a little bit. And only when I got those collective averages together earlier on, I was able to see just how well he performed this afternoon. And be an interesting one to keep an eye on. If anyone's going to spoil the party, it's going to be Ryan Murray. Absolutely.
Let's have a look then at some of the numbers from Group C this afternoon. It was a really intriguing afternoon of action. That checkout rate, very, very impressive over the course of the day's play. But what numbers catch your eye when you look through that?
Obviously the 104.96 there from Chris Gilliland, and to say he did that again as well around the same sort of stats. It's okay to have a performance like that once, but when you can do it twice and you can back that up and have that level of performance, it just shows a deep line of class that he has got, and sort of the maturity and the experience that he's generated over the years coming through. The overall running average at the bottom, sort of up for what we'd expect from a Group C. I'd expect to see that maybe from a Group B or an A. Normally with a C, we'd expect that to be a little bit lower, but not this week. It's up on that, above par.
Absolutely. Let's have a look then at the bracket slide, because of course John Henderson is already through to finals night on Saturday. Very impressive from him, and as you mentioned a little earlier, it's great to see him enjoying his darts again, isn't it?
He's got a goal and a focus, and I think that also helps as well, and certainly with what John Henderson wants to go and do. He's probably found that his focus over the last couple of years has been more around preventing negativity, preventing himself from dropping off the tour, keeping hold of that tour card. Rather than looking at the road ahead of him, he's been looking over his shoulder. Now he's dropped off the tour, it's all in front of him, and it's a lot easier when your goals are something you're chasing rather than something you're defending.
Yeah, absolutely. A really intriguing Group B that we're about to get stuck into. Of course, Lukas Wenig has dropped into Group B. He was the runner-up to John Henderson in Group A. He was actually a Group A winner back in September, but he felt the pressure a bit yesterday, being the only player who was able to catch John Henderson. Does that surprise you slightly, given that he is quite experienced?
It doesn't. And the reason is because Lukas Wenig is in a place at the moment where he's just outside of the world's elite. He certainly plays like that. He's running average over the last 12 months has seen him 110, which is inside the top 128, which will be a tour card position. But he's just not quite getting over that line. I picture with Lukas Wenig, he's going to go down the same road that Richard Veenstra did, where he sort of was outside the tour card position, and as soon as he got a tour card, he then jumped forward and is playing so much better and really fitting on the PDC Tour.
Yeah, and when we have a look at some of the odds for the Group B betting, perhaps unsurprising to see that the two players who dropped down from Group A are the favourites to go on and top Group B tomorrow night. Who would you fancy there if you were to pick maybe a little outsider? Where would your 50p be?
I was going to say, please don't ask me for a prediction on this group, because those 5 players, you can take any 3. And it's not just a cliche or jumping on the fence sort of way of putting it, but all these players are coming here with, over the last 12 months, an argument for why they could win this group, never mind just make the top 3. So I think whoever you are thinking along at home, you're probably going to be quite safe or right in the fact that you can have a play tonight.
Yeah, and Reece Colley available at 9-1, of course. He's reached the quarterfinals on the Development Tour and the Challenge Tour already this year. At this stage of his career, what do you expect him to prove here, or expect him to develop when he comes to the MODUS Super Series?
To me, Reece Colley just looks a little bit lost at the moment. He had that big win last year at the British Open, and the expectation of going into Q School. I was one of the people that also said that he's a guy that could go and get through and get a PDC Tour card. But I think at the moment he's looking at that destination at the end of the road of the PDC Tour and the Tour card, and he sort of doesn't know what his next step is, I think. I think he's getting a little bit lost along that journey. This could be a good thing for him on that journey and on that next step, but it's got to be journey, not destination, I think, for Reece Colley. And if he can find that, 9-1 is huge value.
Yeah, very interesting indeed. Talk us through them prime times tips for this evening's action. Looking forward to seeing what these are. It returns 5.87 to 1. Quite stingy tonight, Matt.
I think there's value again. We said it all afternoon. There's probably value in a lot of these games. And I think, again, if you dig deeper beyond some of these markets, the bookies haven't just got Lukas Wenig tonight as the favourite to win this, but he's hot favourite in a lot of these matches, 2-5, 4-9, 1-2. So if you do want to get involved in his games, you're going to have to look in the handicaps and the 180 market. But this is a player who loves a 180.
It is indeed. Right then, let's tuck into the action, shall we, in Group B, and hand over to Chris Mason, who's going to guide you through all the action alongside this man.
Thank you, Abby. Yeah, it's a fascinating lineup, and for me, it's who gets out of the blocks the quicker. And this is a tough opening game for Reece Colley. Didn't have a particularly enjoyable time the last time here. This man in fits and starts produced some super darts in Group A. As I mentioned at the top, finished in second position, and I think that's why they have installed him as the 6-5 favourite to win the group, which is a little mean. They did fade on the final day. This group, of
first
course,
leg is Reece through
just
first.
played over 2 evening sessions. The top 3 joined the top 2 from Group C that got underway today, and the winner of Group A, which was John Henderson. That'll make up our 6-player field for
35.
Saturday night. And if you want to join us, we're in Portsmouth on London Road, the MODUS Live Lounge. You'll have to book your ticket at www.dartshop.tv. And we'd love to have you along. A real unique experience here at the Live Lounge.
140.
But because this is such a smaller group with 3 going through, always feel like you're still in it. But
140.
I just think, Matt, you need that comfort of just maybe getting off to a good start and getting out in front.
140.
I feel Reece needs that on the basis of what we've seen from him over the last sort of 6 months or so.
And his last time here, he really did struggle, didn't he?
He did, and I'm looking at the results since then as well. Abby did just mention that he reached the Development Tour quarter-final, but that's surrounded by last 256, last 256, last 128, last 64. Not really runs that you'd expect of a player who's won a British Classic.
Yeah, that takes some doing. 11 and ball for a breaker throw. Oh dear, chasing the treble. Paid the price.
81. Reece 51.
Won't be smiling if Reece pops the 19 and the double 16 in.
19. Lukas 40.
Opportunity for an early breaker throw here for Lukas Wenig.
Game shot on the first leg. Lukas Wenig.
Goal.
We did see some wonderful stuff from him over the course of Group A, but a little erratic at times.
Second leg, Lukas to throw first. Game on.
And then yesterday, seemed to play with the weight of the world on his shoulders, and
60.
the throw is so unusual. Everything has to be perfect for it to work.
There are so many elements to the Lukas Wenig throw
55.
that could cause an inconsistency. One of them is, if you look at the point angling in the hand, it's pointing down.
It's almost like a knife thrower, isn't it?
And if you think about the journey that the dart's going to go on through the air with that dart
57.
pointing down, he's got to lift the shoulder in order to get that arch. So straight away we've got a moving body part which is supporting the lever of the arm, which means there's going to be an inconsistent
140.
sort of follow through. End position extension might end up upwards rather than through to the target.
And we've seen exactly that on Wednesday.
140.
Yeah, because the dart's got to not only elevate and get on that arc,
86.
it's also then got to weep back into a position to enter the board. Very unusual.
Which is probably why he can't throw with a straight barrel dart. You'll see here he's got like a bit of a bulbous,
84.
Something to throw against.
who needs that weight on the front to regenerate the arc of the dart.
Yeah.
100. Lukas 160.
Decent start though from both players. Reece especially. I
140.
cast the question marks.
Reece
I've sat here
120.
talking very highly of Reece Colley in the past. Big fan.
Yeah, I've known Reece since he was well, he's still young now, but when he was a very young youth player.
88. Lukas 20.
Playing the many leagues that I played in.
That one hit the actual number.
Playing loops.
And then normally you get this with a less dart.
10. Reece 32.
Opportunity to break back.
Game shot on the second leg. Reece Colley.
The opportunity been taken. Just about right, really, with the opportunities both have had.
Third leg, Reece to throw first. Game on.
I mentioned to Abby upstairs and
96.
mentioned down here as well about Reece Colley and how I sort of expected a bit more from him, but I think that expectation caused him to be at lost. I think.
Well, the expectation comes with a lot of pressure, doesn't it?
And then you just end up thinking about, when am I going to get that tour card? When am I going to be on the tour? And then everything else almost becomes irrelevant, and you almost
97.
focus so much on one thing that everything else just becomes a bit less productive, which is where I feel he is at the moment. I always refer an old children's book where there's a bear and a
97.
squirrel and a rabbit lost in the woods, in the middle of the woods, and they want to get out, and they go, I don't know how to get out the woods. And then he says to him,
58.
do you know how to take one step forward? He says, yes. He says, well, do that. Take that step and then we'll look again. And if we keep doing that and keep taking that one step and reevaluating, eventually we'll find our way out of the woods.
Yep.
I think that's Reece
45.
Colley at the moment. And I think step one, what is your next step? Next step is getting through Group B.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, if I was advising him, I'd say just don't put so much emphasis on the end goal. You've got to dominate
80.
that Dev Tour and then the Challenge Tour, and then you're ready for a tour card. I think too often that when the players do get there too soon, it can have an
59.
adverse
Reece
effect on their career going
170.
forward.
Absolutely. And some players just never recover or bounce back from the drummings that you're going to ultimately
Talking
get on
about
the
that today
tour.
about Griffiths. weren't we?
134. Lukas Wenig
So
160.
many youngsters were expected to do so much. Another one of those would leave tops.
120. Reece
I've never
36.
really seen Lukas Wenig play with frustration before. This feels like a new one for
Game
me.
shot on the third leg. Reece
Frustration
Colley.
might be growing a little bit.
Yeah, that's very much how he played on Wednesday. Wasn't particularly animated across Monday and Tuesday.
Fourth leg, Lukas to throw
When
first.
things
Game
started
on.
to go a little wrong, he gave too many tells for me, and the experienced players like Henderson were all over him
140.
like a rash.
Well, there's one thing for sure. Lukas Wenig doesn't skip chest day or arms day, does he?
60.
No, he sure don't.
Do you like to go benching with Lukas Wenig?
Yeah, I'd hold my own. We did have that conversation.
44.
I said I can do 50s for 4, and he gave me a little bit of a smile as if to say, "Oh, isn't that sweet?"
100.
Be a great spotter though, wouldn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. You feel safe.
Seems to be sort of the modern dart player a little bit.
44.
We're changing the image of darts, and there's now starting to be a few more people who
Yeah, there is another European player that's built like a
134.
preferable brick house.
obviously go in price at the top end. Josh Payne, Aaron Monk.
Yeah, but Gezzy's not particularly big, is he? He's only a little fella. He's fit,
27.
very fit, but he's yeah, he's not built like this guy.
139.
This is good from Colley, averaging around about a 94 here. Wenig is in trouble.
40. Reece
Did say I
68.
wasn't too keen on some of the prices here on Wenig. We had a chat before we came on air, and I says this. I think they've over-egged him a little bit.
28.
I agree. I think it's going on the fact that we have seen quite a lot of him mixing with the elite in Euro tours, etc.
140.
Just
Reece
this year, he
40.
beat Ryan Meikle in a European tour and then lost 6-4 to Martin Schindler.
35.
Oh, a wild one.
Lukas 66.
Yeah, he was a little quick there. Flashed at that. And Wenig punished. He's going to get one dart as long as he finds the big number, and we've seen a few of those missed this week.
Game shot on the fourth leg. Lukas Wenig.
Seen one of them missed in this very match in the first leg, the 1-2-1. Wenig missing the big 11.
Yep, chasing the treble.
Fifth leg, Reece to throw first. Game on.
He also played very recently in the Players' Championships number 7 and 8.
85.
Yes, he came in as on the reserve list, didn't he?
Got a big win in the opening game, actually. A 6-1 victory over Simon Whitlock.
140.
World Cup champion, him and Damon Heta. World Cup moving to pairs only, which I think is going to suit some nations more than
99.
others.
Were you happy to have seen the change?
I think it gives the World Cup of Darts its own unique identity, but on the same aspect, I don't think it's as pretty to watch.
91.
I think it will be more. I think it's a great leveler, and I think it could create more drama and potentially more
58.
upsets.
Upsets for sure.
Well, the beauty of it, of course, will instantly
100.
know pretty much by the reaction of the numbers viewing. You are joining us around the world via our
100.
YouTube
Lukas
channel.
Wenig,
Welcome along, or your
170.
chosen bookmaker, of course. Getting some absolutely huge numbers watching via your bookmakers.
138.
Yeah, sensibly setting up. Colley not on a finish. And of course, welcome to our viewers on Sporty Stuff TV.
99. Lukas Wenig, 32.
Our viewership continues to grow and grow. Thank you for your support.
Game shot on the fifth leg. Lukas Wenig.
You want to get in touch with us via social media at MSS Darts on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you want to contact Matt direct,
Sixth leg Lukas to throw
you
first.
can do
Game
so.
on.
He does have his Twitter page open.
Yep, just chucking the handle at the Edgar 501. It'll pop up on my screen
60.
and we can interact with you throughout the evening.
Yeah, got any questions? We did ask today
81.
who that's eligible would you like to see here at the Super Series. We had a fair few nominations. Phil Taylor popping up a few times. The one I was surprised we didn't get, Bo Grease.
180.
Unmistakable roar of 180 from Paul Hinks,
40.
the governor. You'll be playing soon, pal, won't you? Week 12.
Yep, not long to go now, couple of weeks.
180.
Hopefully we'll be hearing the calls like we're hearing here from Paul Hinks. Two 180s back-to-back for Lukas Wenig.
81.
Possibility of an 11 darter. Treble 10's the shot.
49.
Sensibly laying up.
And that's more like the calls you're probably going to get in a couple of weeks.
How did the practice go
60.
today? Happy enough?
Lukas Wenig,
Yeah.
32.
Yes, happy enough.
Using your new darts? Well, new to you.
Game shot and the match.
Very,
Lukas
very
Wenig.
tidy in the end from Lukas Wenig. A little disappointing from Reece Colley, averaging 85-82. Lukas Wenig, much more respectable. 92-38. There's the numbers there. There's two 180s coming in the final leg of the contest. But the big difference, 140 line, 8-3, giving Lukas Wenig more opportunities to win legs. And coming up next, it is Darren Johnson against Dan Reed.
Darren Johnson and Dan Reid are next in action then. Of course, we mentioned during his Group A campaign that of all the players to have featured in over 100 games here at the Super Series, Dan Reid has the highest checkout percentage. Very impressive indeed. He finished third on Wednesday after some really good displays, including a 98.5 average in a whitewash win over the group winner and first player through to finals night in John Henderson. As for his opponent, the winner of the Northern Ireland Open back in October, of course, what will Johnson produce in his first game of the week? Let's find out with Chris Mason and Matt Edgar.
Thanks, Abby. Intriguing little tie, this one. Very impressed with Dan Reid in spells in Group A and his previous, not just here at our MODUS Live Lounge venue, but our former venue down in Southampton, which is store of the Super Series for us. Can play at a very high level. Darren playing a lot of darts right now, plays in a lot of knockout competitions and
First
on
leg
the
is Darren
Seniors
to throw
Tour.
first.
Seen him, of course, in the
Game on.
World Seniors Championship at the Tavern, losing out to Mr. Taylor.
Got himself in a bit of a
95.
Oh,
war of the words with the power, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that was all about. But there's a big difference knowing that Phil is obviously
140.
the problems he has and probably the lack of competitive action. Probably felt like he was going to just turn up and turn him over, but
100.
actually going up there and getting it done is a little bit different.
59.
People said to me, like, "Oh, you bet you'd love to draw Taylor." No, I would not. Thank you very much. Although I didn't want to draw Terry Jenkins either, to be honest.
I think the thing is, when you play someone like Phil Taylor, you know
99.
he's got that in the locker and it can come out at any moment.
Yeah.
So you're going to always be playing on edge.
And knowing my Donald Duck, it'd turn up when it was against me. You wallop a big 100 average in just for old time's sake.
50.
I think we did see that from Colin McGarry in that Seniors World Championship, that he was playing, anticipating and expecting the Phil Taylor of old to just turn up for a set or two, and
100.
that's all it'll take before the game is done.
Yep. At some point with Phil, you think it's going to click.
100. Darren
Just
Johnson,
I don't wanna be on the end of it.
107.
Well, we mentioned this afternoon it is James Wade's birthday. Also, happy birthday to another friend of the Super Series, Jim McEwen. Plenty of
Game shot on the
success
first
here.
leg. Darren Johnson.
Plenty of success for Darren there in leg one. Very tidy little 15 darter with a ton plus finish.
Second leg Dan to throw first. Game on.
Nice start there from Darren Johnson. He says he's been playing a lot of darts, probably getting more
100.
stage time than he's ever had in his career as well, despite the fact he's coming into his later years, now 56 years old. But with the birth of things
60.
like the Super Series and the Seniors Tour, it is giving a platform for players of any age to come through. Look at Richie Howson.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, his good pal Martyn Turner, who's up next. They used to travel everywhere when we
100.
were in the early days, really, of the PDC. But the opportunities, of course, were few and far between. Both very, very well known in
83.
darting circles. And of course, Martyn Turner, we're going to see next, won the Isle of Man, didn't he, not very long ago? £5,000 first prize. He'll be looking to get his hands
100.
on another £5,000 check this week.
Darren Johnson winning a title himself at the back end of last year, the
100.
Northern Ireland Open.
Yep.
So they'll go in halfies and splits. They'll balance it out.
Yeah.
58.
Yeah, really, really good pals. You see one, the other one's not too far away.
84. Daniel Carr 143.
Isle of Man was just a couple of weeks ago as well, so if he was to have won that and then he comes here and wins
100.
this, he'll be on a Chris Mason-sized paycheck.
Yeah, won't be far off, would he? We work a whole week for that, though, pal. He's played a couple of games of
45.
darts.
Daniel Carr 43.
You know how tough this job is?
Game shot on the second
Good
leg.
response.
Dan Reid.
We had a chat this afternoon, actually, about Dan Reid briefly up on the balcony with Abby, and we spoke about his doubling.
I thought you were going to talk about the Bentley then, but
Third
you
leg Darren
avoided
to
it,
throw
didn't you?
first. Game on.
Good lad. I'll let you have a play in it tomorrow.
$60.
Now, when we spoke about Dan Reid's doubling, Dan Reid was saying how, and he said this to me many times when we've practiced, his doubles is the thing that lets him down. He's mentioned this before on his Twitter page when he qualified for like the UK Open. He goes, look what I can do if I can actually hit a double. But he's got one of the best doubling
60.
stats here. Now, that just tells me that he's more aware of the misses than he is the hits.
Yeah, he's focusing far too much on the negative aspects.
80.
But when you add a little dig around the stats, it is just that. He is one of the superior finishers here at the Super Series.
96.
Problem is, it's key finishes that he's missing. And that will come from the luggage, the negative luggage
60.
of going, oh, here we go again. Maybe only getting the odd dart, but it will be massively exaggerated.
100.
So in that aspect, we'd say that maybe he's not scoring heavy enough, but it doesn't quite highlight until he gets to that one dart of the double, and that's where he's found his
45.
focus in terms of...
Yeah, it's that
the
particular
mistake.
scenario, isn't it? Rather than his overall game, which is very good. I rate him.
Oh, definitely. I'm
45.
a fan of Dan Reid.
Daniel Carr
But
136.
there's an interesting insight there that just suggests that maybe he should just seek either some further analytical data
60.
or
Sport-
coaching.
Daniel
Yep,
Carr
yep, some
140.
sports psychology and a bit of coaching. Try and just move his mindset away from negativity.
100. Daniel Carr 76.
He is another player that is sort of knocking on the door of good things. He's qualified for the UK Open now multiple times by that Riley system, which is not an easy system to
Game
do.
shot on the third
And
leg.
further
Dan
evidence
Reid.
here of Dan Reid on the doubling that it is not your problem, Dan Reid. 2 from 2. Darren Johnson, 1 from 1 with a 107. We have yet
Fourth
to
leg
see
down to
a
two
missed
first.
double in
Game
this
on.
match.
I've actually seen him multiple times do a 4 from 4 down at Southampton
60.
in our old venue. He does have a, doesn't he have a PB average of 117 in the Super
63.
Series? Somewhere around there, 117.8 something.
He can pull a big one out of the locker, that is for sure.
60.
Looking at other tournaments that Darren Johnson has won, he's won a couple of World Senior
56.
Darts Tours, 2022 and 2023. But there's one here that stands out a little bit. The South Yorkshire Festival in
58.
2011. I'm wondering if that's one of the ones that used to happen at Bridlington. They used to obviously have the Yorkshire Classic, which
Yeah,
was
remember it well.
one of my favourite weekends growing up.
43.
Actually, the first ever darts tournament I played in as well was the Yorkshire Classic. It used to take place on the East Coast and very
Yeah.
well attended.
Didn't have too much success there. Won the threes
100.
with Dieter Hedman and Kevin Painter. Remember one year playing out my skin and walked into Gary
60.
Spedding. Made me feel like I'd never thrown a dart before. That was a tough one, wasn't it, that tournament? Players that just Stay Local and Play
85.
Super League used to enter that one, and my goodness, standard. Staggering. Still is now when you look at their county averages.
It's a
98.
hotbed of
Daniel
darting
Carr,
talent. Yorkshire, they
138.
often win the county Premier League.
Always seemed to be out of Yorkshire and Lancashire back in the day, didn't it?
79.
A huge rivalry there.
There's a sloppy last start there from Dan Reid, missing the big 20. Just forces him to come back and burn a dart, which might mean he's only going to get the 2
Daniel
darts
Carr,
now at the
59.
double, which that 140 of Darren Johnson has just pressed the urgency button.
Game shot on the 4th leg.
You know, he
Darren
said
Reid.
he misses a lot of doubles. When is that? When is that? That's what Darren Johnson will be thinking. When's that going to happen?
Yeah, can he talk these in instead? Because he'd
Looks
talk
like
them on the
Darren to serve
outside of the
first.
doubles.
Game on.
Most people are accused of being able to talk a good game of darts and not deliver it. Dan Reid's the other side. He can talk a bad game
100.
of darts, and he can play a very good one.
And I can tell you what you say. You go, yeah, what? I finished well, but
85.
I didn't score very well. Walk away with a full 1 win and not focus on the 2 points.
It's like
56.
you've seen it many times before.
It's like I know the story.
Very dart player-esque conversations, I say.
121.
Because one thing I always used to do is avoid the Players' Hotel, because the Players' Hotel in the bar area, the canteen area,
90.
the lobby, wherever you went, someone would be telling, oh, if I didn't miss that double, if I did this, oh, if I did that, oh, and then he took this shot out. They just want to analyse darts all the time, and quite often
140.
just breeds negativity.
Yes.
$100. Daniel Carr, 155.
Be some way to win it.
$60.
Well, Darren
Daniel
wasn't
Carr,
able to do the 155,
155.
so Darren Johnson can have a turn at the 155.
There's the 5.
$38. Daniel Carr, 95.
55 remaining. Tops for a 4 out of 4.
Game
And
shot
in it
in
goes the
match.
man.
Darren Reid.
That is terrible on his doubles. Hits 4 from 4 and starts his campaign with a full 1 win over Darren Johnson, an end average of 86.09, the only 180 in the match going to Dan Reid. As you can see there was not a double missed in the entire match. Darren Johnson got 1 dart at a double on the back of the 107 and hit it. When we come back, it's Martyn Turner against Reece Colley.
Martyn Turner is the last of our Group B players to get his campaign up and running tonight. Comes here in very decent form. The runner-up of the Target Open Series 1 event in Blackpool last month, of course. He takes on Reece Colley, who was beaten 4-2 in his opening game of the session. Missed 8 at the outer ring and was punished by an opponent who got better and better and really grew into the match. He was the winner of the British Open last year, of course. Can he draw on some of that experience to get 2 points on the board in this one and get his campaign up and running? Let's return to Mason Edgar to talk you through this one.
Thanks, Abby. It'll be interesting to see how Martyn Turner goes here after that recent success at the Isle of Man. It'll be interesting to see how this man responds from a disappointing opening game, going down 4-2 to Lukas Wenig. Will feel the more comfortable of the two, of course, Matt, having already had a game on stage.
First leg is Martyn to throw first. Game on.
See, I like being in the Martyn Turner position here. I like that feeling of going up for the first time of the night. It's all new, it's all fresh. He's in a great position because the games are going to be condensed because there's already been
100.
2 so far in the day. And I always say if you play at Wembley every week, then where's the excitement in the FA Cup final when you play at Wembley?
83.
And it's the same sort of thing here when you come here and it's new and it's fresh and exciting. I think Martyn Turner's just going to have that little bit of adrenaline.
140.
And what's going to win? Is it the adrenaline of Martyn Turner or is it the comfort of Reece Colley?
177.
About to find out.
I do love watching darts that have these little flights on. I just like the way they sit, and I just love watching when it's going well.
100.
When they're not going well, it's a bit of an awkward watch because you think, oh, how's
They
he going to
spray everywhere, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, I could never throw a dart like that.
88. Reece Colley,
I find
141.
it really hard to control it, and I like to feel like that balance of a dart that I'm in control of once it's released.
75. Martyn Turner, 33.
I tend to find you need a lighter dart in these situations.
29.
Well, that looks
Reece
like
Colley,
it's got a bit
66.
of thickness to it.
Yeah, it's a small flight, but it's very thick.
Game shot on the first
Which
leg.
will, of course,
Reece
make
Colley.
it back heavy in terms of balance.
Second leg, Reece to throw first. Game on. $140.
I feel the pace of the game is suiting both at the moment. Certainly suiting Reece. He's getting into a nice pace and rhythm and stride here.
100.
Yeah, he's one of the quicker players of the group. Likes to get on with it. Do like the throw.
97.
So Martyn
96.
Turner competed in 6 UK Opens on the graphic there. That's an achievement in itself.
Yeah, sure is.
85.
Getting up there with Paul Hogan, king of the qualifiers.
60. $84.
Was here last time Martyn Turner played and came in on the Saturday night to have a watch and a look and support because I believe Darren
85.
Johnson was playing
Reece
in the
Colley,
evening session
95.
and saying how he really wants to be there, really wants to be on a Saturday night.
Game shot on the second leg. Reece Colley.
Reece Colley. He's going to give him his first hurdle here to have to jump over. 103.66 in the first couple of legs here for Reece. He's
Third leg,
looking
Martyn to throw first.
extremely comfortable, really settled now to the task.
Yeah, a real dynamic start from Reece Colley.
84.
Been in and around quality dart
100.
players for some time. I remember him playing league at 13, 14-year-old.
60. 41. 140.
We have had a suggestion for a week here from Elaine, I believe that is.
96.
I do apologise if I have just slaughtered your name.
Elaine Kearns.
Said she'd like to see a ladies' week
Yeah,
happen
well,
down here.
I think we're working on a
95.
women's week for sure. That is something that is in the
100. Martyn Turner,
In the offing.
122.
I think it's just a case logistically of trying to get all the women here at the same time. Yeah, ball left.
97. Reece Colley,
One of the players
164.
that's been suggested as well by Elaine is Martyn Phillips. What happened to Martyn Phillips?
Yeah, I think he just decided enough was enough.
46. Martyn Turner, 25. Game shot on the third leg. Martyn Turner.
Well, at least Martyn will feel like he's in the match now. Yeah, what a player he was for his country. Martyn Phillips. Goodness.
4-5 Reece to third first. Game on. $60. 80.
That one almost looked like it hit the board sideways.
Mm.
That is one of the dangers of these smaller flights, just losing it in the hand. If you have that
46.
sort of bit of rotation where we've spoke about people before doing what I call a Spider-Man, where they sort of turn the hand. If you turn the hand with these flights, you
85.
like a bit of a trick shot.
Yeah, well, the dart won't actually have enough time to level out and go into the board in the right direction.
60. 140.
Threatening a breaker throw after the hold in leg 3.
$180.
Well, that's our first max of the match. Did have the 177 from Reece in leg 1.
180.
What a reply.
Reece Colley, 155.
Buses.
$117. Martyn
Wow.
Turner, 16.
What a leg this one is. Martyn Turner.
No score.
no.
Reece Colley, 38.
An opportunity there to break the throw. He's ended up busting that with the big 16, the dart dropping low. The first one wasn't close either, maybe a bit of a nervy effort there. And it's not very often you see a player down on double
Game shot on the
19, but
fourth
Reece has
leg.
won the
Reece
last 2 legs
Colley.
on it.
It's not very often you see 155, and I think that's the third time we've seen it this evening.
One thing I did like from this
This
side
leg,
angle
Martyn
when
is
Martyn
first.
Turner's
Game on.
retrieving his darts is you get to see the angle of entry of the dart, because when you're looking from this one, it looks like it's actually quite flat, but the
Well
darts,
below, isn't it?
they're
45.
laying down. See there from that side angle as he's taking his darts out. It's like Taylor, but even
55.
more exaggerated.
Well, many a time when Phil was having little tweaks to his
85.
darts, you know, have a throw with these. Tell me what you think. I just could barely get them in the board. Do not know how he used to throw them.
100.
You are just joining us after the conclusion of this evening's Premier League. Congratulations to Johnny Clayton, who defeated
180.
Peter Wright in the final. Good to see Wrighty picking up some wins. He also had a 6-5 win over Gezi Price in the semi.
100.
Johnny Clayton now up into a qualifying position, up into third.
91. 100. Martyn Turner, 100. Game shot on the fifth
That's a
leg.
good finish,
Martyn
that, Bob.
Turner.
Martyn Turner, he just missed an opportunity in the last one on the double eight. And then to recover like that and get a ton-plus finish.
How Key will not
Six leg Reece
taking the
to third
opportunity
first.
of
Game
that
on.
breaker throw which he needed. Now he's got to do it all over again.
He's kept the
123.
ball in the court of Reece Colley. We're missing those opportunities. He's going to have to work very hard to carve some more opportunities out, but he's certainly got that level in the locker. His third 180 of this match so far.
45.
Seventh score of a 140 or more, just 3 to Reece Colley.
60.
With that in mind, you would hazard a suggestion that he may get another opportunity. But it might just be the odd dart.
140.
Might even be a dart at the ball.
Could well be right, Matt. He's going to have to come away from...
100.
I'm going to say he's going to have to come away from there and slots one right in the middle.
See, that's the benefit, though, of the small flights, where
Yeah, leaves the target
100.
open, doesn't it?
So you can
Turner,
find
161.
an area through where if that was a standard-sized flight, there was no way through.
137. Reece Colley, 93.
Well, no matter what comes here, very impressed with Martyn Turner. Double 9.
75. Martyn Turner, 24.
Said he needed to work hard. He's worked very hard. Left double 12 after 12. 3 darts.
18.
3 darts missed.
Reece
Yeah, if there's
Colley,
been
18.
One element of his game, it's not the scoring that's let him down, it's the finishing. He's missed 11 darts at a double.
Game shot in the match.
Those
Reece Colley.
11 missed darts at a double ultimately paid the price, going down 4-2 to Reece Colley. Reece turning around the 4-2 defeat in his opening match to Lukas Wenig with a 4-2 win of his own. Martyn Turner with the higher average, no surprise there because the scoring power in that match was his. When we come back, Lukas Wenig will be up against Darren Johnson.
This is the MODUS Super Series. $180.
And you can visit dartshop.tv to book your tickets for finals night. All the action gets underway from 7:30 p.m. on Saturday evening. But back here in Group B, Lukas Wenig, of course, victorious in his opener tonight, looking to build on that here against Darren Johnson, a player he's faced 3 times on the Challenge Tour. Johnson winning their opening 2 meetings before the German came out on top with a whitewash win when they met little over a year ago. Johnson looking for his first win of the night, of course. He had just the 1 dart at double against Dan Reed, pinning double 18 for a 107 out before going down 4-1. To see who picks up the points in this one then, let's hand back to our commentary team.
Thanks, Abby. And again, be interesting to see how Darren Johnson responds to that defeat to Dan Reed, and how does Lukas build on his win over Reece Colley. Munchenhausen, famous football team there, isn't it?
I don't know, to be honest, my geography's not the best. Sounds more
I
like
know what's famous about Mexborough. The Menace, Dennis Priestley, of course.
Darren Johnson actually wore a Dennis Priestley shirt, didn't
lovely.
he?
Kevin Painter wore the Eric Bristow tribute shirt, which was lovely to see.
Good event that down at the Tavern. Looking forward to that one again next year. It's becoming part of the darting calendar now, the Seniors World Championship.
Game on.
Yeah, Leonard Gates really lit it up, didn't he? Although it was Robert Thornton who brilliantly defended his title. And of course, Leonard Gates went on to play in the Golden Ticket qualifier and go on and win the whole thing.
140.
And then arrive down here for a crack at the Super Series.
96.
Yeah, the next one in the calendar is the World Seniors Masters in Yeovil. I will be
100.
plying my trade there.
Remember Leonard Gates was down here actually around Christmas time for the Super Series, and we did a little feature on
98.
what people like about Christmas Day. And Leonard Gates just spent about 20 minutes describing different foods that he's planning on eating on Christmas Day. It was an incredible segment.
17.
He mentioned how they get up in the morning, they'll do the presents, and he goes, it's time to eat. And he just reeled off every single ingredient that he was planning on eating that day. And
97.
it's safe to say he had a sizable appetite.
They like their food. Have you been to America lately?
I have very briefly, but I'll be back over there hopefully again later this year. Going over in July.
85.
Very nice. Yeah, you'll fit right in there.
Yeah, I do like eating. Big hobby of mine.
60.
Earning money and eating. Well, we've got one thing in common. Well, I like eating. My body just doesn't like it.
I also like counting the money as well as earning it.
99. That on your car, 150.
Hasn't gone the new way of the 3 bullseyes.
90.
The Whitlock way.
Car, 60.
Steve West did it a couple of weeks here.
Yeah, he hit the 3 balls mid-leg, just because he can. Went on, of course, to qualify for Champions Week.
50. Down on your car, 60. Game shot on the first leg. Darren Johnson.
17 dart breaker throw. Gets this one underway.
Don't
Second
look
leg
at my
Darren
phone
to
now,
do
'cause I know that
first.
the missus
Game
is
on.
going to be on the on the case after the counting the money line. Be 22 messages on the phone.
140.
So one thing about this job, you don't get away with much, do you?
140. 95.
You mentioned an interesting stat to me, actually, when we was off there. He says that the 3 games so far today have gone against the darts. Well, we've had to break a throw already in this one, so it could be going the same trend.
Yeah, could be 4 from 4. We had a session
99.
last week before, where we had 9 out of the 10 matches go with throw, and the other one went all the way, and
41.
Our darts
Darren
who started
Johnson,
second to win it. Could
167.
have had a session where all 10 matches were won by the player starting second. Very unusual in a short format.
45.
All the matches, best of 7, first to 4, 2 points for a win. Leg difference will play its part. John Henderson won Group A, which was Monday, Tuesday,
100.
Wednesday.
Daniel Carr,
Didn't join us.
122.
Why not? Where were you? Group C started today. Top 2 from that field of 6 will join John Henderson.
97. Lukas Wenig,
And
80.
the top 3 from this group of 5 will make up our 6 players for Saturday night's final. It gets split into 2 groups.
Game shot on the second
Top
leg.
2
Lukas
from each
Wenig.
group make up our semi-finals. And the winner of each of those plays in the final. The winner of that takes $5,000 away and
Third
qualifies
leg,
for
Lukas to
Champions
third
Week,
first.
which will
Game
be
on.
the first week in May. Fingers crossed you're in it, pal.
96.
Who knows, eh? Who knows? I don't even know.
Exciting, the unknown.
140.
It's a fun bit, isn't it?
Thinking
94.
that Darren and Paul must know each other very, very well. Both really good friends with Dennis Priestley.
100.
I think that's also the exciting and interesting part as well when you look at things, because one thing that will never properly leave you is that competitive side. Even if the body can't do what you want it to do,
140.
the brain still thinks it can.
Yeah, well, hence why you see so many fighters, I suppose, go on too long. They just can't find anything to replace that feeling
41.
of being in a intense competitive environment and coming out on top. There's no way to explain that feeling. You have to have gone through it yourself.
55.
In fact, you have to experience certain things.
And you can't just experience it on the click of a fingers. It's not the TikTok
140.
generation who think
Lukas
that you
Wenig,
can experience everything in
116.
6 or 8 seconds. Sometimes to experience something properly, it takes 6, 8 months of process.
And in darts, more like years.
98.
Far too
Darren
much
Johnson,
instant
80.
gratification demanded by the generation.
Game shot on the third leg. Darren Johnson.
Finishing in this one, very tidy so far. That's a 3rd consecutive break of throw, and still on target for a
Fourth leg, Darren to third
4th
first.
consecutive
Game
match
on.
to go against the darts. Leads 2-1, 2 out of 3 on the doubles. Well, the averages are very similar. Both playing to a very similar level.
Which makes it surprising when everything's going against the darts, when they're playing
40.
to sort of a par standard against each other.
$55.
The dart going into the treble 5 is a very good example of what we were saying before about when the arm doesn't come through with that speed and you've got that lift, he's likely to go left.
56.
Yep. Trying to get that ample shoulder to come through. Takes some
59.
doing.
It is interesting as well with him because I remember when I used to be in some of the gyms I used to be
29.
in, and you used to get some like bodybuildery types come in and you'd say like, what do you plan on using all that for? And if Lukas Wenig's career choice is darts, you think, well, what's he going to use all that power and muscle for?
59.
Yeah, but for him, it's something that has been a hobby and an interest for a long, long time. So I suppose it's not like he started playing and has then got involved with. And you can see he's trying to shake that shoulder out because it's not coming through quick enough.
High and left.
Yeah.
That is the issue with the shoulder lift with a throw like Lukas Wenig. It will always be high and left. The way to look at solving that for Lukas is to get that point going from the floor and just not go from down to the floor up to an ideal position straight away, but just slowly.
Well, it was something I picked up on with the Michael van Gerwen throw, where his dart was just above horizontal, but certainly pointing upwards. And then he's just started to close the hand, which then encouraged the shoulder to come through, which is why I think he had a bit of a blip.
Definitely because the shoulder comes so past the hip as well that he loses the balance line on the front side of the body.
Like you say, that then the foundation is lost, and then trying to get any kind of repetitive nature from that is almost impossible.
Game shot on the fourth leg, Darren Johnson.
It's steady, if not spectacular at the moment for DJ.
Yeah, the trend looks like it might be continuing
Fifth leg,
here.
Lukas to throw first.
I think that's something that is coming into darts a lot more now in terms of sort of the care on the body and the lifestyle that you've got to lead. I'm learning a lot about that and learning about how I've got things wrong over the years as well in terms of how I should have been maintaining my own things as I'm trying to find a level of fitness. And it's interesting because where I go to, the lady who provides the treatment for me, she's told me that what I need to do is I need to get bands to stretch out the hamstrings because
91.
With darts what I'm doing is I've been twisting my pelvis over the years, that the pelvis is out of line. So a lot of that will come from the tight hamstrings as well and all the weight you're putting through there. And
78.
when she explains that, you think, wow, there's so much more that can be done in darts that we're just ignoring.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at something like the Challenge Tour and the Pro Tour and the players saying
83.
about how fatigue plays such a big role, it's all about you want to like you say a flexible, fit
59.
body, but what is ignored is the food. It's the intake of proteins and the right kind of carbs at the right time during the day to fuel the body.
140.
If you can't control what is happening to you, control how you react to it. And that's the biggest bit of advice you can give to people in those situations.
134. Lukas Wenig,
Can't
47.
change the system. You change how you approach it.
$31. Darren
It was something you could get away with
170.
years ago because the darting calendar was nothing like it was now. Oh, for the match.
Game
What
shot
a
in the match,
finish from Darren Johnson, showing us exactly what he has in the locker. Our first 170 of the week, 4 out of 6 on the doubles. A really, really good performance, and the trend does continue. Is match number 4 completed, and all gone against the throw. Courtesy there, mainly of that wonderful finishing, topped off with the 170. When we come back, it will be Dan Reed against Martyn Turner.
Dan Reed back in action next, and so far he's picked up where he left off in Group A, hasn't he? A clinical finisher. He was 4 out of 4 in getting the better of Darren Johnson a few matches ago. Can he produce a similar level in this one against Martyn Turner, who had a bit of a torrid time on the outer ring in his opener this evening? These two did meet on the Challenge Tour back in 2016. Turner the 5-0 winner on that occasion, but you feel he's facing a very different player this time around. Reed far more accomplished now. So let's return to Mace and Matt Edgar to talk you through this one.
You, Abby. Well, we were just reminiscing because it is quite a big day. 3 years ago today, the concept of this idea started off with a couple of players playing in their living room or dart room or garage, conservatory. We had a bedroom, we had pretty much had it all, but this was the day that this all started. What an incredible evolution it's been, Matt.
I've loved the story and the journey, and I think partly because I remember being involved myself in one of the very first at-home games, which was a game between me and Michael Smith. The PDC sat on and watched a load of games going on. It was the day before April the 1st, and then we did the show on April the 1st, and there was so much innovation in darts at that period of time with the at-home darts and the various leagues that came through, but that is what ultimately has caused the evolution to where this is now. It went from there to a studio and now into an arena, and be exciting to see where exactly it does go.
Yeah, over £1 million in prize money every year now.
That was all born in the COVID days. I was just wondering, have you done anything yet with the 20,000 toilet rolls you decided to buy during COVID?
Yeah, I find it quite amusing that not only were people buying toilet rolls, they were buying mountains, tons of pasta. There was no need for any toilet roll.
125.
It's quite strange seeing that you go to some places, there's still them places where you had to stand.
54.
The Pro Tour was the same, wasn't it? We had that line that you couldn't cross, and you threw in a box.
Can you remember the lollipop guy in Germany?
Yes.
100.
It was one of the few sports that, well, at one point, the then live league, now MODUS Super Series, was the only live sport happening. And I remember initially getting lots of people contacting, just 55. Saying it was a wonderful distraction just to be able to watch something live and something happening that was a bit of a positive.
Because everything got cut. I mean, Coronation Street, they filmed
42
a month or so in advance. They cut their episodes down to a session rather than 2, just to try and drag it out for longer, just in case.
92.
It was a very strange time, and one that we'll probably watch back on documentaries in years to come and look back and think, how did we get through that period of time?
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't get called a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist very often now, that's for sure.
Game shot in the first leg. Martyn Turner.
Turner looks to bounce back like his good pal Darren Johnson.
Second leg, Martyn to serve first. Game on.
It's interesting as well, the evolution of how the players are adapting to it as well, because I remember those first ones literally ringing round people, trying to get people, do you want to do this?
Yep.
Like, do you want to play in this?
Well, it was some incredible innovation with regards to playing online, wasn't it? And in a positive, of course, from looking back at players that I'm now meeting that 83. Started to play during that period, like Cam Crabtree.
Well, players that during that period went into it as an average player and have come out of it a much better one because they had time to be able to practice and work out what they needed to do to find progression within their game.
I'm playing at a higher level, albeit in the security of their own home. And some of the funny stories of where players were averaging 100 and then went to their first live game and
55.
averaged 45.
Martyn Turner 138.
Treble 18. 20 for tops.
98.
If I remember right, it started off with a camera, then it was 2 cameras because you could see the
We
player.
were the first ones to do the
140.
split screen.
Martyn Turner 40.
It's to double his lead and to actually be.
No score.
Oh, he's done it again.
Daniel Carr 66.
The darts practically hit sidewards. I was about to say this could continue the trend of the player throwing second.
Double 10.
56.
Had a choice. Opted
Martyn
for
Turner
10s.
40.
But last time out, didn't miss a dart at a double.
Game shot on the second leg. Martyn
Back to
Turner.
back. 17s, yeah. When the powers that be behind the scenes discussed taking it to that
Third
venue
leg
in
down to third
Southampton,
first.
the
Game on.
on my life, the red tape that we had to go through was just mind blowing.
81.
I remember going over to a Pro Tour event in Germany and I was filming it for the darts show. And sat in the airport. There was no one in there. In a London airport.
1 out of them 40.
It was weird. It was like a ghost town.
Yeah, it was spooky. Of course, the players then as well, when they were
100.
pretty much blocked down in Milton Keynes, weren't they? And they had to literally go back to their room and everything was room service, meals left outside the door.
I called it Dart in Prison because I was in
100.
during that period of time.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, you
And
were
I hated it.
Still a tour card holder, weren't you?
Absolutely hated it. There was times where I just felt like going home
85.
because you would sit in your room, they'd bring you breakfast to the room, you'd leave your tray outside with what you wanted for breakfast the next day, you'd go to the venue, you could only really interact with people if you was on the practice
60.
board and distance still then you've got 10 minutes from losing to get back to your room again, and yeah, it wasn't a nice period of
96.
time.
Daniel Carr 120. Martyn Turner 120.
Glenn Durrant speaks about it, doesn't he, with the Premier League when he used to have to go back to his room and be on his own and then go back the next day and play again and just sort of drag
54.
that
Daniel Carr
negativity
40.
out. Just bent the wire slightly.
Game shot on the third leg.
Lines it with a
Darren.
second.
Oh, everything in 17 so far, Matt. Opening 2 legs to Martyn. 1 hold, 1 break. In 17.
Fourth leg,
that was
Martyn
a
to third
17
first.
from
Game
Dan,
on.
but
Well, he was
doing
either
a bit of dancing there, was it?
he was doing a bit of a jig or he tripped on the carpet. It was one of the two.
180.
It doesn't strike me as someone who could dance the jig or do a bit of tap dancing, so I'm going to go with the carpet.
Yeah, it's only a massive, great big yellow thing. It's not like you can miss
100.
it.
100. $58.
Control of this leg.
60.
Nothing Reed can do to leave a finish from 3-4-3. Martyn, 6 darts in hand.
84.
3-1 lead.
Martyn Turner 161. $50.
It's always interesting to see where people start on those sort of shots. We saw Darren Johnson earlier on start on the 19s. Just keeps the shot active for all 3 darts.
Yes, I was just going to say that. It's one of those shots where you can just have your target and have all 3 at the same target, because the 5 19s leave 164, 7 leave 126.
$96. Martyn requires 60.
This was for Martyn Turner to put himself a leg away from the match, and a match that would keep the trend going.
Game shot on the 4th flag. Martyn Turner.
One trend that is continuing, the 17 dart trend, because that's the 4th of the match.
Fifth flag down to throw first. Game on. $81.
Martyn
140.
was very tidy in his opening match. He did average 94 despite going down 4-2 to Reece Colley. A good scoring
60.
game in that one. 3 180s, but did miss 11 darts at a double, and that ultimately was why he was
26.
on the wrong end of that result. He missed 5 darts at a double so far in this match.
100.
There's always a moment when a player hits a shot like the 26 where they're disappointed and frustrated, but you also see
100.
their opponent almost like a meerkat, where the chin comes up and the head, and they're looking, and then they look at the scoreboard just to check the
Excitedly,
verdict
yeah.
right,
Ooh. Hello.
180.
Stands first of the match. 1 apiece.
45. Daniel Carr 80.
I don't think Martyn will be too concerned. He has the assurance policy of having the darts in the next leg to serve it out.
45.
Wow. Yeah, he just gave that a look as if to say, what happened to that?
Martyn
83.
trying to pile the
Daniel
pressure on a
Carr,
little bit. He's
35.
left the 107, which his good friend Darren Johnson took out earlier on this evening. If he's going to get a shot at it, he's going to need Dan Reid to miss 2 darts at double 16. There's 1.
Game
But it
shot on the
won't
5th flag.
be
Dan
2.
Reid.
Will be 2 in the legs column, though, for Dan Reid. Martyn Turner will have the darts here to serve this one out.
6th flag Martyn to throw first. Game on. $100. 41. 140.
Take that in a leg he needs to get over the line. 10 and a 140.
180.
Didn't he need it? Got him right back in the leg.
61.
Another one on the floor.
He might need another big shot here, though, Dan Reid. Martyn Turner, despite losing a dart to the floor, has got a nice lead here.
100.
This is where he'd give anything for a 140.
123.
Good recovery after dart 2 was wayward into the treble 1. Very doable 77.
85. Martyn
Could still
Carr
be a
77.
3-darter, though, due to that slip to the treble 1. Will be at tops.
Game
Tops he
shot on the match,
finds.
Martyn Turner.
And Martyn Turner turns performance into results this time around after losing his opening game despite the 94 average, and that puts all 5 players onto 2 points in this one. Coming up next, we've got Reece Colley taking on Darren Johnson.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Martyn Turner has just recorded his first victory in Group B, meaning that all players are now on 2 points. We're yet to see, though, any of the players put down a real marker in this group. Who do you think will be best pleased with their performances so far?
I have no idea. I seem to get these groups all the time, and I like to come in and I like to make loads of predictions and be quite bold and say this is going to happen and that's going to happen. How can you predict that? That is pretty much exactly what I expected to happen at the start of the show. I says, please don't ask me to predict someone to get through this group, and after 2 games I'm kind of hoping we don't go down that road again. Yeah,
absolutely. Dan Reid, of course, top of the table on leg difference at the moment, but one of the most impressive attributes that he's shown so far this week, especially early on in Group A, when he did have that little bit of a dip, when things weren't going his way, his mindset never faltered. He didn't really show that. He didn't really berate himself up on stage. That's going to stand him in good stead, isn't it, going forward?
Well, it's a strength that Dan Reid is now starting to develop, because he hasn't always been like that. He has been one of those players that will get on his own back, not just in the arena or in the game, but he'll then go home and take to social media and say about how he's missing doubles, missing opportunities, and what he could do if he changed this or that. Well, he's changing something. He's a lot more positive in his demeanour, and he's a lot more focused when he's up on that stage, and it's surely going to pay dividends this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And John Henderson, of course, our first player through 2 finals night. If you're Big Hendo watching this at the moment, who are you most worried about maybe facing on finals night?
I mean, if I was Hendo, I wouldn't be watching this in the first place, to be honest. I'd be enjoying myself right now and probably just basking in the fact that I don't have to be here. But knowing John, he'll be keeping an eye on it. He'll want to know. He'll be the professional that he is, and he'll want to see so he doesn't get caught out by anything. He'll certainly be casting an eye over the results and the averages just to make sure. But at the moment, if John Henderson hits the levels we know he is, I don't see anything in here at the moment where he'd go, oh, I don't want to run into that player, other than this afternoon's Reece Colley.
Of course, and Lukas Wenig, of course, we mentioned at the top of the show. If you were to give him some advice after what you've seen in his opening 2 games, what would it be?
The short term, he's just got to keep doing what he's doing. I don't think there is any need to change anything right now. It's persist, because he's playing to a level that will get him through a group like this if he continues the way he is. And at the moment, the advice to Lukas would be no advice, which is a boring answer, I know, but he's doing the right things.
And Reece Colley up against Darren Johnson next. Who do you see coming through this one?
I wish you'd stop asking me these questions. I don't have these answers for this group. This group has completely thrown me off. You know I love to stand there and give predictions, but I'm going to jump on the Chris Mason fence.
Yeah, OK. You go pick those splinters out of your backside, and we'll get back into the action with Chris Mason.
Thanks, Abby. I rarely sit on the fence, but it is a hard pick to split anything between them. They've all played 2 matches. They've all won 1. They've all lost 1. We've seen 170 finishes. We've seen 90+ averages. We've seen 4 out of 4 on the doubles. We've seen doubling disasters. Very much is just all on the moment, and the moment in time. And who can make the fewer mistakes? Reece Colley is the
First leg is Reece, the third first.
11.
Game on.
That will be mainly down to having the throw, which isn't counted for anything so far. All 5 matches played. All
100.
5 players against the throw winning the matches, and we've not had one go to a deciding leg yet, Matt.
No,
55.
I'm just baffled by predictions for that. I've literally sat here since the afternoon session. I haven't gone home. I've sat here. I've
54.
had a little throw. I've sat and looked over the stats and the data, and I've done all these numbers. We've watched 5 games or 6 games where everyone's played 2 matches so far. And
87.
my job's to sit here and run the numbers so I can give some predictions. Abby's job's to ask me the questions. I'm kind of hoping that relationship doesn't continue because I don't have answers.
140.
No, I can pretty much make a case for both. I've seen great moments from both in their opening 2 matches, and then I've seen some vulnerabilities.
55.
And my take on it is who makes the fewer mistakes.
I mean, please do, if you are watching at
99.
home, help a guy out. Get in touch at MSS Darts. You'll see the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Chuck my handle in at the Edgar 501. Who do you think's going to be winning? Because I am
55.
none the wiser, and
Reece
I've
Colley,
sat here
108.
watching every game and looked at every stat possible, and I just cannot separate it. The only thing that's separating the whole table is two legs. Dan Reed top of the table on +1. Reece Colley, Martyn Turner, Darren Johnson on 0, and Lukas Wenig on -1. 2 legs separate the whole
134. Reece Colley,
league
52.
after everyone's played 2 matches. That's unheard of.
Yeah, they'll still go, well, why can't you give us a result?
Game shot on the first leg. Reece Colley.
If we knew that, I may only work just 1 week a month.
Second leg, Darren to throw first. Game on.
And then you could say, well, Reece Colley's got the advantage of throw, but that's worked for nobody so far.
Exactly. I think that's the only reason they made Colley favourite
100.
here. 8 to 11 up against even money, and that's literally just purely based on advantage of throw.
180.
We've seen 4 out of 4 from Dan Reed.
38.
We've seen the 170 from Darren Johnson.
60.
We've seen a brace of big visits from Reece last time out.
One of the things that
100.
quirky little pattern, I like little patterns and little weird little stats. Here's one for you. Darren Johnson's had 2 finishes over 100 tonight.
57.
And it's all using the same numbers, a 107 and a 170, just in different order. Only I notice things like that.
59.
There's a little look into the world of Matt Edgar.
180.
Mrs. once said she'd like to spend a day in my head. I said you wouldn't.
85. Reece Colley,
Risky
24.
there from Darren Johnson, who actually praised earlier on for his counting. It wasn't the treble, he'd have
Game
bogeyed
shot on the
himself.
second
Not that
leg.
it's
Reece Colley.
any relevance now with Reece Colley taking that out, but if he'd have hit a 45, he would have left himself on a non-finish. Switching down to the 19s there was the safer
Third leg,
percentage
Reece to call
shot.
first. Game on. $125.
Finding another level here, Reece Colley. On the opening leg in 18.
121.
On that leg in 14, he's averaging 96.6.
Do you think Reece Colley's going
81.
a little bit quicker in this one?
Yeah, I think so. Certainly up the tempo. And that can often happen when you're playing I wouldn't call
57.
Darren far from slow. He's medium paced, isn't he? Sometimes a quick player can just start to throw a bit quicker to try and compensate.
46.
Darren Johnson, though, is
58.
landing no big blows here. It's like he's swinging and landing straight into gloves. Yet to hit a 140 or a 180 in this one.
Yeah, hitting fresh air.
85.
4 scores of a ton. A player like Reece Colley will be happy to take that as a return.
95. Reece Colley,
And
164.
look at the angle of how the darts sit up for Darren Johnson. Very similar. Reece Colley, a much more
54.
traditional
Darren Johnson, 170.
style of entry. Surely not again.
And that would have been
83.
3 finishes all with the
110.
numbers of a 1-7 and a 0 involved.
90. Darren Johnson 87.
There's only the two Yorkshire boys that so far have got the ton-plus finishes. Darren Johnson with 2, Martyn Turner with 1 himself. This one won't be a ton-plus finish, but it'll be mightily important in the context
43. Reece
of
Colley
this
20.
match.
Weight of dart was fine there. The line
Game
was
shot on the third leg.
a
Reece
long
Colley.
way off as Reece Colley is going to buck one trend by the looks of things. Actually going to get a player. Win on throw.
4 fake Darren to throw first. Game on.
He could be in some style at the moment because the way Darren Johnson is playing, you wouldn't fancy him to get too
100.
many legs on the board unless he can have a big turnaround. That dart at the ball was his first dart on the double in this match so far.
60.
We do say sometimes the averages don't tell the story,
70.
but in this case, they are the story.
Yeah, and the main story being here, Matt. The big power scoring
82.
coming from Reece Colley.
61.
Another example of just that. That's a third max of the match.
It's not just the big power scoring, it's the
100.
time in which he's delivering that as well. It's just when you think Darren Johnson's starting to get himself in this leg, which could lead to
99.
being in this
Darren
match
Johnson
we saw earlier with
170.
Ryan Murray looking completely beaten and
Yep.
then just got a leg from nowhere and rattled off 3 amazing legs.
Chris Wickenden as well.
100. Reece Colley 80.
The very last game this afternoon, that was. Could be the very last shot of this match. Reece Colley hits tops. He will hit the tops of the table.
60. Darren Johnson
Good
70.
effort. A lot of pressure on this. To extend the match. Tops. Great first start.
50. Reece Colley 20.
To wrap things up.
Game shot on the
Finds the
match.
double
Reece
10.
Colley.
And finishes it off with a 16 dart breaker throw and our first bagel of the night, a 4-0 for Reece Colley, and it does take him to the top of the table, moves him on to 4 points and +4. Still has one more match to go. There are the averages 89.73, those 3 180s, 40% of the doubles. When we come back, Lukas Wenig faces Dan Reed.
Lukas Wenig and Dan Reed back in action next. Of course, this is their fourth meeting of the week. The German leads the head-to-head 2-1 with victories on Monday and Tuesday before Reed claimed the win yesterday with 4 out of his 7 on the doubles, getting over the line with a fantastic 140 out to complete a 15. Both players, of course, looking to return to winning ways in Group B, though, having been defeated last time out. To see who does so, let's return to Chris Mason and Matt Edgar.
Thanks, Abby. Well, the match is coming thick and fast. All the players having played 2, we enter the third cycle of 4. That was started with a dominant display from Reece Colley, winning 4-0 against Darren Johnson. Next up, Lukas Wenig, 28, from Münchenhausen, uses a 24-gram 180 dart. Nicknamed Lou, that's a bit like Chizzy, that, isn't it, that one? Bit like me calling you Eddie.
Yeah, it's not the... I think sometimes the nicknames need a bit of work at times as well, don't they?
Shame he's not from Brussels, and we could call him the Brussels from Brussels.
I mean, the town he's from does sound a bit like a cafe. Münchenhausen.
But he eats a lot.
First leg is Lukas to throw first. Game on.
You want him to pick up his dinner bill. We've got a dinner bill the size of a
140.
Chris Mason hourly rate.
He's not Eddie Hall.
70.
These two, of course, familiar with each other, having both played in Group A,
140.
which was dominated by John Henderson.
$140.
Monday, Lukas just got the better. It was game of the day for me. It was 1-4-3 by
100.
Lukas. He had a 98.69 despite missing 9 darts at a double. Dan had a 94.19 with a couple of 180s.
61. Lukas Ricard 121.
Again, another 98 plus average for Lukas on Tuesday, winning 4-0. 4 out of 9 on the doubles on that occasion.
81. $100. Lukas Ricard 40.
Well, it's a good start here from Lukas Wenig. Tops after 12.
Eventually for revenge for Dan on Wednesday when Lukas had a
Game
little bit
shot
of
on
a
the first
wobble.
leg. Lukas
But
Wenig.
it was only 4-3. Lukas was the favourite, 4-6 for this tie. 11-10 about Dan Reed.
Second leg Dan to throw first. Game on.
And here, game on from Paul Hinks.
140.
Great to see Charlie's progression continuing tonight in the Premier League. Refereeing there.
180.
Just paused after the first dart because I was so expectant there of Dan Reed to follow that one in. If Lukas Wenig can follow it in, he would have been on for the 9.
97.
Was here for the last 9 darter that was hit. Helping Paul Nicholson calling that one in. Conor Heenahan once again finding another 9 darter.
The only one to hit one here. He's hit 2, hasn't he?
122.
That'll be due another.
100. Dan Ricard 59.
Oh, tops for an 11-dart leg.
Game shot on the second leg.
You take a
Darren.
12. Super start to the match from both. Really quick out of the blocks.
Third leg, Lukas to throw first. Game on. 81.
Forget to join us tomorrow for the conclusion of Group C.
99.
That gets underway 1 o'clock on our MODUS Super Series YouTube channel. If you're not familiar with that, please head over and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up and hit that notification bell, and you'll get an alert to not only when we go live with the Super Series, but also plenty of shoulder content and interviews, previews
100.
and reviews. Can you join us for a real intimate, unique night of the darts on Saturday
100.
night? Head over to dartshop.tv to reserve your ticket. Doors open at 6:30. Play gets underway at 7:30.
56.
A very, very cheap night of sporting entertainment.
$100.
Music to my ears, that. A cheap night.
I once
40.
heard that you did spend
Lukas
Christmas.
Wenig,
I'm
80.
not sure. Be complicated when you and Nico go out for a meal.
Game shot on the third leg. Lukas Wenig.
Paul Nicholson shown me the receipt for a shirt that he bought. I haven't spent that on my
12
entire
leg down to throw
wardrobe.
first. Game on.
Yeah, he loves a bit of quality clobber.
60.
Does dress to impress. Was voted our snappiest dresser, wasn't he?
It was a battle
85.
between himself and Abigail Davies, I believe. They was neck and neck for it. I think both of them probably awarded it to themselves as well.
59.
But there isn't a great deal of competition for that award around here.
60.
Most of us like to shop at those budget shops where you get a shirt for a £5. True story, I was on holiday with the missus and I
82.
picked up this really nice t-shirt. I really liked it. And she goes, "Oh, you're going to get it?" I went, "How much is it?" She goes, £10. So I'll put it back. And she goes, "Out of interest, how much did you think you needed to spend for that
Well,
shirt?"
that was my next question. Like, how much do you think a fake Hugo Boss t-shirt costs?
22.
I was willing to stretch to 7.
You should have had a deal.
$81.
Got this other habit as well of passing on things like, "Oh, I won't get that, I won't get that," and then regretting it and like talking about it
96.
for a year.
It's like when you do go shopping, you end up going back to the
59.
first two things you've seen after spending 3 hours being dragged around a shopping mall.
Isn't that so relatable to darts as well? You'll get some new equipment, you get new flights, new stems, new darts, you'll have them for a week or two.
100.
You end up back with the
Dan
same set
Ricard,
you started with.
160.
Exactly that. I now have exactly the same setup that I spent the first 20 years playing with.
100. Lukas Wenig, 138. $106.
Again,
Dan
an
Ricard,
example
60.
of counting on Lukas Wenig. This is going to be a good example.
Game shot on the fourth
Quality
leg.
doubling.
Dan Reed.
And it is that from Dan Reed. He's got a feeling of a player that's just holding on.
I think that's relatable in the numbers as
Fifth
well.
leg,
10
Lukas to
points
throw
difference
first.
between them in
Game
the
on.
averages at the moment. Lukas Wenig, 99. Dan Reed on an 89. That 99 is about to creep up a little bit higher over the
135.
100 mark here for Lukas Wenig. Whenever you're out there with the bat swinging, you never know when you're going to
100.
hit the ball.
The most important stat is that one.
100.
Despite the disparity in the averages, both had the same amount of darts at a double.
100.
Is it you that can't quite get your head round why? Well, on the 4 legs that have been played,
119.
that Lukas had in leg 1, Dan Reed was cut well adrift. In the 12 darter that Dan Reed won,
97.
Lukas was waiting
Lukas
himself
Wenig,
on a finish.
147.
Basically, when you crunch the numbers, it's very much
99.
like James Wade. When he loses a leg, he can be left stranded in the 200s. So when you divide all the numbers up, that's why the averages can be so different.
James Wade, if you ask
44.
him, says he
Lukas
doesn't want to
Wenig,
waste good
48.
darts. Doesn't want to waste a 180. Obviously feels that there are so many 180s that can be hit in a leg, and he doesn't want to use one in a leg that's already gone. Yeah.
28. Daniel Carr, 160.
It wouldn't be the biggest finish we've seen so far today. 170 from Darren Johnson takes that one, but it might be the biggest in terms of context.
Yeah, we have seen 160 this week from John Henderson. We've very
120.
nearly seen one from
Lukas
Dan Reed.
Wenig,
That would have been a real painful steal.
We're just saying how Dan Reed doesn't show that frustration anymore with those sort of shots, and you can see him still showing that frustration now.
I think he realised the
Game
importance
shot
of
the
it, and
fifth
he was
leg.
right.
Lukas Wenig.
Yeah, a shake of the head there. You think, have I got away with it? Am I going to get another chance? No is the answer, as Lukas last starts him.
It's always the
down
last
to
start as
first.
well when
Game
you
on.
do something that you miss that one dart at tops and you think, was that an opportunity? And then you start meerkatting again. Oh,
100.
I might be getting an opportunity here, and it's at 5-5, and Wenig gets it with the last one and just breaks your heart.
You just look around the opponent's shoulder and you almost track the dart into the double.
Mentioned earlier on about
81.
Reece Colley finding big darts at key times. That is the same vibe I'm getting here from Lukas Wenig, and that could be something where we're trying so hard to find a way
100.
to separate the players in this group. Maybe that could be the key. We could say maybe Reece Colley and Lukas Wenig on the fact that their key timing and those
40.
key points are where they're finding their best.
What is that? 80.
Just like that, you mean?
Exactly like that. As the average goes over 100, we could be about to see our first 100 average
44.
of Group
Lukas
B.
Wenig, 41.
You should say that because Reece has a 177 and a 180 and 2 180s in another match. This man's count is similar.
Game shot in the match. Lukas Wenig.
And Lukas Wenig joins Reece Colley on 4 points with a very, very tiny performance there. Well, performance of the night in terms of averages. There you go. 99.42, 3 180s, 3 140s, 40% on the doubles. Well, it is A battle of the best mates up next as Darren Johnson takes on Martyn Turner.
Darren Johnson and Martyn Turner are next to go head-to-head in match 8 of 10. They, of course, know each other very well indeed. Very good friends off the hockey of their previous 4 meetings. Of note, it's 2 apiece, with Martyn Turner winning their last fixture at the England National in 2021. Turner also victorious when they met in a Players' Championship event 12 years prior. The winner of this one, of course, will move on to 4 points in this very congested Group B table. Is it worth me asking where your money would be for this one, chaps?
Firmly in my high interest account, thanks, Abby. Yeah, this is a tough one to call. So much so they go 4 to 5, 10 to 11. As you've mentioned, 4 notable meetings, 2-2, nothing to split them in any department. Don't forget, if you are watching, whether it be on our YouTube channel or of course on Sporty Stuff TV, welcome along to the action. Make sure you get in touch via social media at MSS Darts, all one word, on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Let us know where you're watching. My pal over in Spain, watching the action. Yogi tuning in, as always.
First leg is Darren to throw first. Game on.
I'll be over in August, pal, for a much needed sun. Do you like a bit of Spain?
I do
11.
and I don't.
Do you like the sun?
No,
Ah, well,
that's the bit I don't like.
ah, well. Best you go to Scandinavia or something then.
46.
We'll be venturing over to Iceland soon.
Ooh, darts related or?
Yes, darts,
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Darts
Is that for a bit
related.
of
44.
coaching?
Well, I'm doing 2 trips. I'm playing in one of them, and then I'll be coaching in the other.
Nice.
86.
Don't recall being one of the tournaments I would have attended back in the day. I used to do vast majority of the usual Scandinavian countries, Sweden, Denmark.
96.
Don't think, no, I've definitely not been to Iceland. Interesting, the
140.
announcement today that we're going to have a new tournament in Switzerland, another new territory next year. PDC Europe. ever
56.
expanding.
Well, if Poland's anything to go by, sold out pretty quick, didn't it?
Yeah. Pretty
59.
much at capacity, and it's a massive venue. That will be, of course, on ITV Sport.
29. Martyn Turner 170.
Darren Johnson's hit one of these already. Martyn Turner won't do it against him yet, but
100.
I'm noticing a few distress signals being sent out here from Darren Johnson at the moment. It wasn't great in his last game.
133. Martyn Turner 70.
Just seems to be a sign of tension in there at the moment for DJ. Oh, it's the wrong double.
No score.
It
Darren
was
Johnson
at
132.
double 9 and he's pulled it low, so he goes back to the 70. DJ, who looked completely out of this not too long ago, starting to carve a route back in.
Yeah, I'm amazed he stayed there. That ball was not inviting for a bedfellow. 42
82.
for tops may have been the best
Martyn
option.
Turner
A
70.
bigger and an open target. Double 8.
Getting shot on the
No
first
mistake.
leg. Martyn Turner.
Pins it for a break of throw.
That's good, and quality, resilience from Martyn Turner.
Second leg
He made a
Martyn to
mess
throw
of that
first.
last one.
Game on.
Ended up busting the score to come back at 70 and does it in 2. He's looking the more composed of the 2. He's
140.
looking the more likely of the 2. He does have that very recent title at the Isle of Man, which has been going 48
58.
years now, hasn't it? The Isle of Man Open.
Yep. Yeah, it's got some serious history.
100.
Was it the Isle of Man where Glenn Durrant missed the double 16 and celebrated because he thought it was in?
97.
But he'd won the title. Give it the big, go on! And it's like, Glenn, it's not in.
60. $40.
This is a sizable drop at the moment in the performance of Darren Johnson. And
57.
the worrying thing is it's a sizable drop again because there was a big drop from match 2 to match 3 and the trend has continued.
126. Martyn Turner 144.
Yeah, the first of the Isle of Man events back in 1984, Matt.
44.
And John Lowe beating Eric Bristow in the final. Steve Brennan a winner. Alan Warner a winner. Steve Gittings. Dennis Priestley.
45.
Taylor,
Martyn Turner
Warner
100.
again. Fordham. Baxter. Manley. Can't see my name on there. Couldn't have been a tournament
42.
I used to
Darren
attend.
Johnson 135.
Well, Glenn Durrant did win it in 2018, but did lose in the final
62.
to Dennis Harbour in
Martyn Turner,
2015. So maybe it was that one, pal.
18. Darren 73.
Darryl Fitton, a former winner. Chizzy. Robbo, Gary Anderson in 2006.
53. Martyn Turner, 40.
Always pulled that one low. Normally, when you start
35.
missing these, the last dart is the
Darren
one that
20.
causes the pain. Both of them now are starting to get drawn into this battle. Martyn Turner,
Game shot on the
24
second leg.
darts
Darren
thrown in
Johnson.
that leg, and ended up losing it.
Is this a case of a little bit too much respect
Third
between
leg
the
Darren
two?
through first. Game on.
Yeah, it could well be. Both of them on 2 points. Darren Johnson has played 3
48.
games, though, so you feel it's going to mean a lot more to Darren Johnson here to get the victory. Martyn Turner's got one more game to come. That's the last game this evening when he takes on Lukas Wenig. But Darren Johnson has just completely lost that power scoring edge. Just looking back through,
80.
he has not had a score of 140 or more since he took out the 170 to beat Lukas Wenig.
140.
Good start.
60.
In the women's event in the Isle of Man, just sticking with that theme. Julie Gore used to like that one. She won it 4 on the spin.
140.
Dita Edmonds won it 5 times.
140. Martyn Turner, 81.
Women's darts picking that title up. Last 2, no shock. Both gone to Bo
49.
Greaves. And the youths, the last 2, have both gone to Luke Littler.
Are we able just to give Bo maybe the next 3 as well? Because it seems to be the way things are going at the moment in the ladies' game, doesn't it?
57. Martyn Turner, 32.
Yeah, she is the dominant force right now.
Game shot on the third
That's a
leg. Martyn
much better
Turner.
leg for Martyn. 13 dart break of throw, and the 3rd consecutive break of throw. Breaks of throw usually an indication of a scrappy game, and up until that leg, that's
Fourth
exactly
leg
what
Martyn to throw first.
this one has been
Game on.
so far.
100.
Chrissy Howett won that twice.
140.
Howett now, of course, Chrissy Manley. And Peter Manley himself has won it.
41.
2004 and 98. Great tournament. If you're a darts fan or just started playing,
100.
get yourself over there. It's a wonderful festival of darts in a really nice place.
60. $180.
Starting to warm up and find their stride again here.
140.
The respect starting to go out the window.
Now starting to think about those points, which could translate to pounds.
Game shot on the fourth leg. Darren Johnson.
It was a 13 darter in leg 3, and it's a 12 dart break of throw. The 4th consecutive break of throw in leg 4.
Fifth leg Darren to throw first. Game on. 180.
Well, his last 2 scoring visits for Darren Johnson have been a 180.
96.
Sure, we could clip this up to make a 9 dart video somewhere, couldn't we?
56.
Just needs to take a 141 out at some point.
140.
Well, maybe we could get him in a 151 to leave the 170. A real special 9.
133. $58. Down in your car, 132.
Even though 9 darters are becoming more common now, there's still something special about them, isn't there? It's not quite lost its magic yet.
No.
104.
And even playing, you know, not necessarily at 9s, but even hitting a 180, it still feels, still gives,
60. Down in your
still
car,
gives me a bit of a
28.
buzz. To go within 1.
No score. Martyn
All
Turner,
over
147.
Do you remember when I first started playing, if you hit a 180, you could write into a magazine and they'd send you a
60.
180
Down in your
badge?
car, 28. Game shot on the 5th leg. Darren Johnson.
That is our first hold of throw. Did you ever
6 leg
have
Martyn
an
to throw
issue playing
first. Game on.
a friend on the hockey, or did you just were pretty switched off to all that?
I actually played very, very well
45.
when I played against friends. I don't know, especially if I share a room with them. I can't imagine losing someone I'm sharing a room with.
45.
And I actually played in a group here with Aaron Beanie, and we shared a room at a 98 average
59.
both days against him and beat him both days.
I bet breakfast was interesting.
100.
See, I don't bring it up, but I don't want to give them the opportunity to bring it up the opposite way round.
140.
You'd have done that to me, you'd have found something interesting in your toothpaste.
81. $60.
Back-to-back days as well it was. Was in a Group C and he
45.
feasted down on 2 98s.
Got Edgard.
$100.
Grafting hard here. Martyn Turner.
100. Martyn Turner, 97. $57. Down in your car,
130.
130.
All the match. Oh, that's awkward. Can he find a way around now? Ricocheted off into the 1.
40.
That was
That's
the
Martyn
problem there,
Turner,
wasn't
40.
it? Going low with that opener.
Which looks like it's going to be
Gain shot on
going
the
all
6
the
leg.
way. It
Martyn
is now
Turner.
Martyn Turner levels us up at 3 apiece. Darren Johnson has the advantage of throw, but is it an advantage? It mathematically is, but on the evidence of what we've seen so far today, it might not be.
7th and final leg. Darren to throw
This
first.
was the only
Game
thing we
on.
were fairly sure about, and that was the fact it was gonna go long. Very similar stats going into the
95.
match, so no surprise we've gone to a 7th and deciding leg.
60.
For the first time this evening as well. All the games traditionally have been 4-2, seems to be the most popular scoreline today. 4
82.
matches in 4-2. We've only had the 1-4-0. That was Reece Colley against Darren Johnson. So you've got to give credit to Darren
85.
Johnson, who's able to bounce back after that 4-0 and put in a challenging effort here against Martyn Turner.
Yeah, that is very much the
90.
nature of the Super Series. It's showing that bounce back ability. Energy to
60.
respond to adversity.
$125.
Need to max.
$66. Down in your car, 109.
It was a big last dart, but it's not going to do too much damage. Darren Johnson, 109 for the match. He took out a 170 to win a match earlier on today, so we know he can take the big ones, but he can't hit the big numbers.
69.
Hit and hope is the only thing Martyn Turner can do from here. Well, it might be hope and
Down in
hope.
your car, 40. Game shot in the match.
There
Darren
is
Johnson.
no hope. Darren Johnson, in the last time that we see him this evening, picks up his second victory of the day and moves on to 4 points. A nice return that will keep him well and truly in the mix. And it's a return that Martyn Turner could find himself on, as he'll be back in our last game taking on Lukas Wenig. But before then, we've got Dan Reed taking on Reece Colley.
Every Saturday, we open our doors for our weekly finals night.
For a unique and intimate darts experience.
Meet the Dart Stars and even the team off the telly
Here at our purpose-built venue in Portsmouth.
every single Saturday evening.
Tickets can be booked via this QR code
Or at www.dartshop.tv for a very small booking fee.
Follow us at MSS Darts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok.
For all the latest ticketing news.
All you need to do, log on, book, turn up, and the action gets underway from 7:30 p.m.
So what are you waiting for?
Get your tickets to the darts.
We look forward to welcoming you to the MODUS Super Series very soon. And to see whether Henry Deacon really is that enthusiastic in real life, book your tickets for finals night right now. Our penultimate match of the session then sees Dan Reid and Reece Colley go head-to-head. They have met previously on the Challenge Tour. That was in Milton Keynes back in 2021. Dan Reid, the 5-1 winner on that occasion. Reid looking to join Colley on 4 points with a win here. Of course, started proceedings with a perfect showing on the outer ring. As for Colley, he lost his opener, but has responded very well to win his next two. To see where the points go in this one then, let's rejoin Mace and Edgar.
Well, Matt, I think Henry enjoyed that, didn't he?
Every feature, isn't it? You just get the same sort of vibe from Henry, and if you are wondering if Henry is that enthusiastic, yes. Yes, he is. 24/7.
Actually, waiting outside as we speak for tomorrow's shift. Doesn't get underway until 1 o'clock. Make sure you join us for the conclusion of Group C tomorrow. Initially on our MODUS Super Series YouTube channel from 1. And then we go live from 3 on Sporty Stuff TV. Now in a situation here, of course, Matt, where if
First leg is done to through first.
Dan Reid wins this one, and
Game
Martyn
on.
Turner gets the better of Lukas Wenig. We'll have all 5 players on 4 points. Just how we like it.
And then, does my prediction of no prediction then become a
45.
positive prediction?
Absolutely. It becomes bang on the money.
So by having no prediction, it actually could be a very successful prediction.
45.
I'll teach Abby to ask all those questions.
I predict she won't be asking you for a prediction tomorrow night.
180. $57.
Dan Reid's 5th 180 on the day so far. Gives him what I like to call a gate.
100.
You do a tally, you do the 4, and then you put the slash through them to make the 5. It looks like a little gate. Lukas Wenig,
95.
the only other person who's achieved a gate tonight so far. He's actually got a game still to come. As does Martyn Turner, who's on 4 180s. They've been spread out quite nicely, but I'm going to be greedy and ask the players here, can we have a tumpless finish, please, lads? We've only had 3 tonight.
40. Daniel Carr, 36.
36 180s in today's Group C session, which is right up there in terms of return on legs played.
28.
I think everything was up there really with that Group C today.
Finishing was good. The running average was very impressive. I think you picked up on it. It's usually higher than what we would normally see in a Group C. Do you think that could be down to the revised timing now with the players getting underway at 1 o'clock instead of 9:30 a.m.?
First leg, Dan Reid.
Absolutely, and I think it's a very competitive group as well in terms of the players that are in there. Don't think this week you've really got a weak link. You know, normally you can pick 1, maybe 2 players where you go, right, they're not really in the running with this pack of players, but...
Well, we began to worry a little bit about Chris Wickenden, didn't we? But he responded well towards the back end of the day and come through some serious adversity to
85.
Eventually win 2 matches. He's right in the mix.
Also got that highlight piece of a
100.
156 that he can go home and clip up and send round to his family and friends.
Yep. That'll be on his little highlight reel.
140.
What moment would you have on your highlight reel?
125.
Apart from working with me, of course.
I find it's a tough one because for me,
60.
a lot of what I think are highlights for me, certainly across my career of playing, most people wouldn't think they're highlights.
85.
Like, they'd think winning at World Championships or winning bigger prize money or when the lights are the brightest or when the biggest moments come, but they don't. They tend to come from little internal battles when you've
59.
beat a certain player
Reece
on
Colley,
board 15 in a
134.
corner in Barnsley somewhere.
Yeah. A lot of
94.
people, when they ask the question,
Daniel
think
Carr,
it's
157.
quite predictable. It's, like you say, it's usually... I think one of my favourite day of darts was at a Pro Tour. I didn't
57.
even
Reece
gone to win. I
40.
lost in the semi-finals, but it was more down to some of the darts I produced over that day.
30. Daniel Carr, 100.
Let me stay there. I think he looked at that and thought, well, the 20 is so high, it's a
42.
blocker on the top,
Reece
so I might as well go
10.
for the treble 20 for double 10.
Game shot on the second leg. Reece Colley.
Reece Colley looking to end in those qualifying positions at
Third
the
leg
end
down to through
of day
first.
one.
Game on.
Just like his beloved Aston Villa, who are very close to being in the European qualifying positions in the Premier League.
100.
Found a good bit of form under new management. Ollie Watkins leading the line, scoring almost every game at the moment.
100.
That's a bit of a surprise, isn't it, Villa being that
It is, yeah.
high up?
As a Villa fan myself, I've got very used to just expecting
58.
a mid-table position and just wondering what number is going to be next to it at the end of the year. But
Have you had a new manager? Is that the reason behind the...
oh,
60.
That's a bit unfortunate.
that could be a 180 floor.
I'm pretty sure it was in.
It was, and it knocked out the dart that was in there as well.
When Gary Anderson did
100.
that in the final against Phil Taylor, and all three ended up on the floor. In the Worlds, that was. Did go on to win it, of course.
43.
Are you a snooker fan?
No. I've had a game of snooker before.
78.
Very tough game to play.
Yeah, it's very hard.
Kevin Painter likes a bit
85.
of snooker.
Yeah, he likes a frame, as does Gary Anderson. World Championships, of course, not too far away. My teammate in the
95.
PDC Fishing Championship, Ian Burns, came through to the third round of qualifying. Well done to him.
99. Daniel Carr, 70.
Tops.
Game shot on
he
the third
gets.
leg. Dan Reed.
And Reed takes the lead.
4-5 Reece to throw first. Game on.
The points he needs. This is like rhyming tennis. I've put it back
114.
over into your court again. But if he does get the points here, that will be 4 players on 4 points. And it'll be over to Martyn Turner to see if we can get that clean sweep of basically just
60.
legs separating the players after a full day's worth of action.
Yeah, absolute symmetry, a possibility.
140. $59. 140.
Reece Colley has
140,
different ideas here, though.
81.
A trio of 140s. Could be an 11 darter. 12
Game
will
shot on
do.
the fourth leg.
Beautiful
Reece
leg,
Colley.
wasn't it?
He needs to
Fifth
try
leg
and
down to throw
put
first.
something
Game on.
like that in on the Dan Reed throw. Because Dan Reed will probably stand there and nod along and go, fair play. But
100.
it wasn't the time that you needed it.
Maybe a 15 or an 18 darter there would have been more than enough. Where have to find a
45.
like you say, a 12 on the Reed throw.
$60.
There's one thing with that Dan Reed
97.
throw when we look at it from this side-on angle, is he does have a very de-accelerated backswing, which we don't see too often. It's normally sort of a one rhythm, one sort of pace,
85.
where with him it's in two parts. It's a slow back and an acceleration on the front, which does actually simplify the throw a little bit. A little less
99.
confusing for the brain to deal with different movements in different directions.
And what I like is it's not overly aggressive. It doesn't really accelerate right through. There's no
140.
control. It's almost like a little loop, isn't it? But it's something that you can replicate.
Well, the arm matches the journey of the dart. The arm is, if we look at the journey of the wrist, is arcing and rainbowing, just like
60.
the dart
Daniel
will
Carr,
through the air.
116. $100.
Tidies up. By comparison, it's
108.
quite a
Daniel
short
Carr,
backswing,
16.
and it's a real punch through the
Game shot on the
action
fifth
for
leg.
Reece
Dan
Colley.
Reed.
As Dan Reed goes ahead for a third time in the match. There's a
Six
real
leg Reece to third
acceleration, and
first. Game on.
that's down to the point is
85.
far less drawn back. So he has to really accelerate through to get the elevation of the dart.
81.
Bob Anderson was very similar, wasn't it? It was almost well in front of the
140.
point that you'd normally associate.
Well, some players, like a Bob Anderson, Devon Peterson, one in the modern day,
100.
that actually tend to set the dart at the position which you'd normally release it.
Yeah. Yeah.
68.
Hence it has to be given a little bit more aggression. Turn, that's a little bit harder to control, isn't it?
43.
Yeah, what you can tend to do is sort of throw the body into it a little bit and then almost throw down at the board.
135.
Start getting a lot of low darts. Low darts are not a problem. Some people set up for low darts. I know that myself.
93.
But
Reece Colley, 73.
when it's not your intention, that's when it's the problem.
Game shot on the sixth
Yeah, if
leg.
you've got a
Reece
very
Colley.
Flat entry, then having a low dart isn't much of a problem.
Seventh and final leg down to throw first. Game on.
I mentioned that we've had no games go the distance just a couple of games ago. And since we made that statement, the last two games have gone all the way.
Sleep's overrated anyway.
96.
Just like when we were starting to talk about everyone winning against the throw,
60.
we then have 3 games all go with the throw. We need to stop trying to find these patterns, I think. I think we're looking for the old
60.
10 in a row red, so it must be black routine.
Yeah, exactly. careful here, Dan Reed. Reece Colley threatening to break
97.
throw. That was a huge final dart. I think but a trouble there, and he's in a whole world of trouble.
100. $60.
Here comes Colley.
99.
It's going to be a tight finish.
100. Reach your car,
See a couple of
146.
mismatched darts in this one. Because when the tension rises, those mistakes just amplify.
58.
May
Daniel
see
Carr,
a couple of missed
124.
darts at a double. A couple of mismatched darts at the ball.
$56. Reach your car, 88.
Well, Reece should get a match dart here. He's going to get 2.
$74.
Misses 2.
Daniel Carr,
I'm
68.
not surprised that we're seeing a couple of mismatched darts in this one. But will he get more? It's 2 for Reed.
Game shot.
He
of the
only
match,
needs the
Darren.
1, and he has got his second victory of the day. And we now have 4 players all on 4 points. There is a situation here where we could have all the players at the end of the day all on 4 points. And that situation could arise in our next game if Martyn Turner was to beat Lukas Wenig. And that's coming up in a couple of minutes' time.
Our final match of the session then sees Lukas Wenig, the runner-up in Group A, return to face Martyn Turner, the German, with an average just shy of a ton last time out. And if he can replicate that level in this one, he has a very good opportunity to end the night on 6 points. As for Turner, it was a bit of a slog for him last time out. He's looking to make it a level playing field and ensure all 5 players are level on 4 points heading into the second and final day of Group B action. To see whether that will be the case, let's return to Edgar and Mace.
Thank you very much, Abby. Yep, our final game of the opening session of Group B. We do have that possibility, Matt, of everybody ending the session with 2 wins apiece. And all on 4 points and only separated by leg difference.
I've seen that situation happen before, and I thought how rare it was. History may repeat itself here, but for that to happen, Martyn Turner is going to need to find something big here, you feel, against Lukas Wenig, who averaged 99.42 in his last game, 92 in his opener. He's running sort of about a 93 really for the day.
Yeah, I think this is a big ask for Martyn to try and get something out of this one. Lukas 4-7, very, very backable here as a short price favourite.
First leg is Martyn to throw first.
We just can't ignore the difference in levels, and we've got a fairly big sample to look at.
Well, let's just look at their last matches. Lukas Wenig 99, Martyn Turner 78.
100.
So on their last matches, there's a 21-point swing between the two in the averages.
Yeah.
And averages don't always tell the story, but what they do, if you can break them down into blocks of visits to the board, this is 2 extra visits in terms of their
60.
Their last match. That's
they're
a big swing.
They're turns in a leg. And of course, it's the psychological effect, positive and negative for both. The
100.
Positivity that Lukas would have taken from that performance, and the negativity that Martyn may carry
30.
over into this match.
It's worth also noting as well, Martyn Turner didn't actually win his match, so that 78, if he was to have gone on and won it, that as an average might have actually been even lower.
43.
And of course, you can then take the positivity out of the fact that you've won the game rather than have played poorly and lost
99.
That was a defeat to Darren Johnson, who got his second victory of the day in that one. 2 good friends, travelling partners from Yorkshire.
60.
But there are no friends on the hockey.
Right at the top of the show at 10 o'clock. Whilst you were talking to Abby, it was a
58.
a big call on Reece Colley being way too big at 9s, and had he won that last match that he was edged out 4-3, he would have been the overnight leader, and there'd have been no 9-1 about for him then.
154.
He had 2 match starts, didn't he? It wasn't like it wasn't without opportunity.
100. Lukas Wenig 138. 98. Martyn Turner 54.
You get the job 25% done.
Game shot on the first leg.
He's enjoyed it up on
Turner.
that tops today. A good friend for him up at the top end of the board.
Very efficient.
Second leg, Lukas to throw first. Game on.
Welcome to the game, Lukas Wenig. That is 6th.
60.
180 of the group, putting him up to be the top hitter of 180 so far. It was something I highlighted at the start of the show.
91.
Lukas Wenig does like a 180.
And the timing of them as well.
140. 41. 140.
How do you counteract someone hitting a 180 against you? Hit two 140s.
55. Martyn Turner 161.
Back-to-back troublous visits for Lukas. Has left the door
99.
ajar for
Lukas
Turner.
Turner 134.
Pinch one on the Wenig throw. And he will get an opportunity because he's coming back at 62 for 2 zip.
58.
Third
Martyn Turner
consecutive
62.
troublous visit, scores of 41, 55 and 58. Treble 10. Double 16.
46. Lukas Wenig 76. 68. Martyn Turner 16.
To double his lead. Yeah, 2 darts
Game
right
shot on
on
the
the
second
wire.
leg. Martyn Turner.
He's somehow come around the outside of that one. The normal play there would have been to come on the inside of the dart, but he's managed to get that one over the top. And again, that comes down
Third
to
leg,
the
Martyn
equipment
to
that he's
throw
using,
first.
those
Game
smaller
on.
flights.
And understanding the trajectory of that said dart.
60.
That was unfortunate there. He had 2 and he managed to find one over the top, and it still didn't manage to find its way into the treble.
58.
But the alarm bells could be ringing here for Lukas Wenig, and we are moving closer and closer with every single visit to the board, to the situation where all the players
180.
could be on 4 points, and Martyn Turner is racing towards that possibility.
$100.
He had a couple of these types of performances on Wednesday.
83.
Dartboard tattoo on the
96.
forearm. Nothing I've seen before in a gym.
138.
A good leg here from Martyn Turner.
Yeah, tops after 12.
This is for a 3-0 lead.
100. Martyn Turner 40.
I agree with you. Coming into this one, you'd have said Lukas Wenig, hot favourite. Martyn Turner showing the
Game shot on
quality,
the third leg. Martyn Turner.
showing the reason as to why he's won that title, the Isle of Man, very recently.
Yep. Oh, it was just based on levels of performance so far.
Fourth leg, Lukas to throw first. Game on.
Not just tonight, but when we've seen this man at his best in Group A, where he put in
96.
some very, very solid performances, but not happened for him so far in this game.
81. 58. 125.
I was about to say, he'd be very disappointed if he didn't get at least one more in there. That's perfect for the way his darts enter the board, and this is perfect for the way Lukas's darts enter the board.
114.
High in the treble. Just putting up a wall to throw into.
100.
Yeah, how close all those three were. Only the one in.
$60.
say, he's just got to try and resist being too aggressive, and he recovered so well after a big wayward 5, and he's going to be back at 70. Well, off what
97, Martyn Turner 70.
A real big upset here. Double 16.
38, Lukas Wenig 50.
Pick one back. And
Game
gets it.
shot on the 4th leg, Lukas Wenig.
Well, one match start for Martyn.
Fifth leg, Martyn to throw first. Game on.
That was only a hold. Now he has the honour.
60. $26.
Absolutely amazed he didn't run for cover.
$68. $51. $58.
Real opportunity to gap Lukas there.
$60.
There's another opportunity here. Just needs a solid 2 treble visit.
100. $100. $135.
That may be a treble visit that sees Martyn Turner get over the line. Seeing
85. Martyn
Lukas
Turner
rotating
80.
the shoulder, just trying to ease up some tension in there. 20 and tops. Tops he needs.
40.
Take of the head from Lukas. He knows this has been a well below par performance.
155.
Although that's
Martyn
a
Turner
splendid
40.
visit. Treble 19 ball, treble 16. That's counting on a
30.
different level.
Lukas Wenig 24.
Maybe that was just enough to plant a bit of doubt in Martyn Turner.
$12. Martyn Turner 10.
Can he get it done here and now?
Game
Yes, he
shot of the
can.
match, Martyn Turner.
Eventually does just fall over the line, yep, and a shake of the head from Lukas. He knows that's an opportunity missed to top the table. There are the numbers, 4 out of 15 missed on the doubles, but still enough for Martyn Turner to pick up his 2nd win, and all 5 players end this evening's session on 4 points. Let's have a quick catch-up with Abby and Matt on the balcony.
Yeah, thanks very much indeed, Mace. A really unpredictable night of darting action. Would you say it's fair to say that maybe we expected a higher and more consistent level from the majority of the players in the field tonight?
Predictably unpredictable night, because that was my prediction for tonight. I don't know if I really thought we'd get what we've got here, but it was a bit in and out, wasn't it, tonight from players? I mean, Lukas Wenig last game was a 99, and in that one just looked really tight and really struggling, and we could see that in the performance as well, because he moved away from the 20s at times to start on the 19s and the 18s.
Yeah, really is spectacular when you look at that and see all players on 4 points. Who do you think then will be the happier with that return at the close of play tonight?
None of them. I don't think any of them are going to be happy when they look at that and think that none of them are out of it, but none of them are in as of yet. I mean, Reece Colley top of the table, but it's by a leg, and that was 9-1 at the start of play today. And we did say that if Reece Colley could take that next step forward and stop thinking about the destination, more about the journey, that he could be in that position. But it's not even been points, it's a leg, you know, and that's only because he got that 4-0 victory over Darren Johnson earlier on today. It's exactly what I expected it to be, and I'm not surprised by how tight this group is.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw glimpses, of course, from all 5 of those players throughout tonight's action. Who do you think it will be? I'm not saying for you to judge on what we have seen, because clearly that's so unpredictable, but who do you think it will be that pulls away from that pack, if anyone?
I think if we look at ceiling, we've got to look at Lukas Wenig, which is why he was the bookies' favourite coming into this. Been impressed with Reece Colley. Thought he's done some good things today. Martyn Turner as well. At times, really impressive. He's just had that bit. I'm going to name all 5,
all 5.
Yeah,
I was just going to say all 5 of them. Yeah,
yeah.
I see where we're going there. But, of course, Group C is looking a bit more handily placed, isn't it, for the 2 Northern Irishmen in the field. Do you expect those 2 to get the job done in Group C when that reaches its conclusion from 1 p.m?
I expect them to, but if it doesn't happen, it'll be Ryan Murray that disturbs that party.
Absolutely. Right, there we go then. That is the state of play in Group C heading into tomorrow afternoon session. That, of course, reaches its conclusion from 1 p.m. tomorrow. And it's Gilliland and Neil Duff who lead the way on 8 points. So we look forward to seeing you from 1 p.m. tomorrow on our MODUS Super Series YouTube channel and, of course, on Sporty Stuff TV from 3 p.m. We look forward to seeing you then. Every Saturday, we open our doors for our weekly finals night.
For a unique and intimate darts experience.
Meet the Dart Stars and even the team off the telly.
Here at our purpose-built venue in Portsmouth.
Every single Saturday evening.
Tickets can be booked via this QR code.
Or at www.dartshop.tv for a very small booking fee.
Follow us at MSS Darts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok.
For all the latest ticketing news.
All you need to do, log on, book, turn up, and the action gets underway from 7:30 p.m.
So what are you waiting for?
Get your tickets to the darts.
We look forward to welcoming you to the MODUS Super Series very soon.